No, you're not seeing double. These are two separate copies of issue 300 Amazing Spider-Man, a super popular, iconic cover by Todd McFarlane. In fact, he did the pencils for the entire story. And I was in a local shop. I had the opportunity to pick up these two books. As you're going to see, if you stick around, I'm going to take a closer look. I estimate that one is in slightly better condition than the other. They're both mid-grade. The better condition may be pushing the edge of very fine 7.0-ish. But I thought it'd be a fun project to keep one as raw and send the other to be graded by Brian at Slabmasters Unlimited. So he's excited to receive that, and it might be a few months before we get it back. We're unfortunately, I guess Todd McFarlane's not available for signing. We might try to wait to see if we can have it signed by the creator, Todd McFarlane, but if not, before too long, we'll probably send it for grading. So when that comes back, I'll have an update for this video to tell you how it turned out. And stick around. I'm going to show these and talk a little bit more about Spider-Man as a comic book for collecting.
Okay, so here they are, two copies of Amazing Spider-Man issue 300. The one on the left is I'm going to keep raw. And we'll see, I believe it has more defects than the one on the right, which I am not going to press. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to clean or press it. I'm going to send it to Brian at Slabmasters, and we'll send it to CGC. We'll have them press and clean it and grade it, and this will be a good experiment to see what comes back. This is what I grew up with. This is the Overstreet grading guide, just showing you here in person. It's made it through the years, as you can see, through a lot of use. So certain things like detachment at one staple, that automatically drops you to a 4.0. If you have missing pieces, that drops you to a 3, a book length crease. So this is the, the grading standard that I have been used to. Now what CGC does, and depending on whether it's Golden Age or a modern book, can vary a little bit. So part of this project, we're continuing to learn about grading. These are an example of books that would be worth in value. This is approximately a 400, and this would probably approximately be about a $500 comic book. So at that kind of value, it's right on the edge, and certainly it makes sense because it's an iconic book. Now I did go ahead and I had not actually read, this was not a part of the Spider-Man comics that I collected at any point. So I went ahead and read this. And I understand why people have an attachment to this book. It's a pivotal moment, as you can see, where Venom is born. It's considered the first appearance of Venom, and it's Todd McFarlane. This is a example of a book that you would choose to have graded and professionally graded by CGC and slabbed and encapsulated in a plastic slab. And let's go ahead and take a closer look at these while we have them here. And then we'll get this book ready to send to Brian for grading. Like I said, this book I'll keep in the collection as a raw book, and we'll just see how it goes. So as part of this process, if they were In mint condition, you could do a point count on the imperfections and give them 1 point each to get into like the 9 versus 9.2, 9.4. I was just trying to look that this actually does talk about that a little bit, where you could go around. So if you were in this range of 9 to gem mint, which really doesn't exist, but that's kind of in the eye of the beholder, in my opinion. So really for me, I kind of chunk these and say, okay, I've got something very fine to mint versus very good to fine versus, poor to, there's some obvious things that establish this, like we talked about. If you have a full-length book crease, you're good, very good. If you have a detached staple, you're very good. The book could otherwise be in really high quality, but if you have a detached staple, that qualifies it at a 4.0. But there is a procedure where if you're in this range from 9 to 10, you can go around and say, okay, I've got 1 spine tick, 2 spine ticks, so it's a 9.6 or something like that. Neither one of these books is a 9. We can see here not only do we have abrasion at the corner here. It might be hard to see, but there's a finger pull there at the corner edge. Moving around on this particular book, there's a slight nick there. And let's take a look here a little closer. So there's some issues there at the edge. This is a blunted corner here with a fold that's not severe. Some more corner abrasion up at this corner. And 1, 2, 3, a lot of issues around the staple. 4, 5, 6, I mean, so many spine ticks. I would immediately say that this is probably, this is more of a mid-grade copy, just being a little bit harsh on it. But now if we swing over here to this copy, this corner is a little bit, has some abrasion similar to that copy. The edge has a little bit of just kind of inspecting this. This corner is cleaner. And overall, the spine is not, now there is a pretty decent sized scratch right there. Some serious scratches there. Fewer, and the overall condition looks, I think this one is a half to a full point better. And I'll continue to show that to you a little bit here. Now there are some wrinkles in the pages. If we flip these over and look at the back, you can hopefully see, but I'm just going to describe to you what I'm seeing in person. The back cover, so we have kind of a misaligned staple here. it's not too cool, but the spine and the condition of the back cover here is much better than here. We have some color rub, a little bit more severe rub of the color at different points. A little bit of some corner fold there. So I'd probably put this in the 4 to 6 range, and this in maybe the 5 to 7 range with the first look. And the other thing about this, as a raw guy, I mean, there's been some migration of the ink. So with newsprint, you know, this is from 1988. You have some ink that has transferred from one side to the other. This was a copy that I read. It was still very readable, but it's not a pristine. There's some tanning to the pages. And you can see here, this copy hasn't suffered as much. There is a little bit here, so that, you know, it's kind of systemic to the ink and the process, the type of paper for these books. But this is a little bit wider, not quite as brown. We'll kind of do a side by side here. So you can see this is browned a little bit more than these pages. And overall, there's not as much of the internal ink transfer to the pages. Let's see if we can get to that exact page for comparison. And then there also was a little bit of kind of chipping to the edge of the cover on this copy that I'm not seeing on this copy. You can kind of see by comparison. Let's see if I can get to that same page. There we go. So kind of putting them side by side now. Okay, so in my opinion, my humble opinion, this copy is the better copy as far as condition is concerned. I'm going to say maybe a full point better. So I think at most a 7 and at most a 6, probably somewhere within a point of a 5 and within a point of a 6 and a 6.5. There's really not a lot of issues. It's just with modern grading, they really ding you for just about anything. In the old days, this would have definitely been a perfectly acceptable comic book. You just would have picked it up and read it. But when you're talking about a book that's worth $500, okay, well, every last little issue becomes important. Okay, so I'm going to put this one away. I'm going to package it up. I'll put it in a top loader, and we will send this one to Brian at Slabmasters for processing with CGC. If possible, we're thinking about sending it for an authenticated signature. But if that isn't possible or isn't in the cards, we'll go a different route. So I'll get a clean bag and get this loaded up, and then we'll go ahead and give this one a clean and a press. A couple of things I realized I skipped over, so I'm preparing this for pressing. I cleaned it over lightly with the absorbing sponge. You always stroke in the same direction. Be very careful that you don't have any sudden movements. Apply very light pressure, and that just removes dirt and grime. Any like grease pen marks or magic marker will come off with that too. But otherwise fairly clean. But one thing that I wanted to make sure, your hands are clean and not oily. Um, I kind of skipped over. Obviously, if there were any missing pieces to the book, which they're not in either one of these, so I have inspected like all the pages. There's no damage to the pages. There's no missing pieces or cutouts. You do not want to purchase a book as an investment book if it has any missing pages or pieces. That drops it down to a zero point 0.5 and basically makes it worthless for most collectors. So no coupon cuts or missing pages. So do a full page count. And then also the other quick checks that you would do, open the front and back cover and check. You can see if there's stains, it'll show up more clearly. If something had spilled and stained, it'll usually show up more clearly on the inside of the covers than on the outside, especially on a dark color book where a stain might be hidden. So do ask and do have anyone that's, and they won't mind. That's kind of standard procedure. And it's to be understood that if you're purchasing a book, you should have every right to see the book, and they might want to do ask because they might want to handle it. It's their property, of course, and you haven't purchased it yet. So let them do it for you if that's what they prefer. And check the inside cover, and you're looking there to see that the staples, nothing looks fishy there, that they're both in place and not detached, because that would throw the value of the book down. Then check the center fold. Which is going to be halfway through the book, and there you're just what you're checking there is that the pages that the center fold's not detached, because that would be a major ding on the condition of the book if either one of those or both were detached. And you can kind of flip through the book depending, you don't want to get too crazy with it while you're there looking at the book. And then go to the back cover. So again, checking the staples, checking for any major stains. And as long as you don't see anything there, you should be fairly good. I mean, you might not have a 9.8. That takes very close inspection. And sometimes, you might miss something, or something could be damaged from the time that you purchase it to the time that you get it to CGC. But overall, if you do those simple checks, you should be in pretty good shape. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and this book isn't particularly dry. There's just, like I mentioned, there's some creasing, and I think overall a press won't hurt this book. So if anything, it'll improve it. So I'll go ahead and do this, and we'll check it when it comes out.
I wanted to end this video with a few thoughts. Share your opinions too. Please comment. Right now, since I haven't reached the community level, please realize that YouTube doesn't allow me to communicate entirely on YouTube itself, but definitely comment, subscribe, and like if you like this content. But, as a reader, collector, and dealer, there's different aspects to collecting. For me, as a teenager, I read not the originals and not even these reprints, but similar reprints of the original Spider Man comic books with Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. And so, this to me is the Spider Man that I knew. So within a character and a title with his history as long since 1963 of the original Spider Man, um, this kind of storyline and artwork is going to be more valuable and more precious to me might not be valuable to anyone. In fact, this was just newspaper inserts that have more sentimental value or coolness value to someone like myself, to be able to read and handle. Um, but when it comes to investment grading, um, you know, do you, so a book like this in raw format, at a $200 price point, um, for someone like myself is more valuable. This comes from an era of the comic book that I read and enjoyed, whereas the Todd McFarlane book is not necessarily as of interest to someone like myself. It would be of interest to someone who encountered Spider-Man and read the Spider-Man comics that Todd McFarlane and others did around issue 300 with the introduction of the character Venom as well. I'm not particularly interested. You can see I'm more of a Batman guy anyway. So hopefully that makes sense. And a lot of that goes into the collectability and decisions. What do you do with a book? Is it strictly an investment? Um, is it something that you would keep and not sell or trade regardless because it's something that you have an attachment to as a collector? Um, and or do you simply want a low grade reproduction copy to be able to read? You can have all of those. You can have a reproduction and a high quality graded copy for your collection as an investment. So let's take a look here. Here we is the CGC website, and we can go. You can verify if you have a graded book. You can put in its certification number. If you have something graded, you can track its status. You can learn more about it here, and there's both a registry, but also um, the census of books that have been graded. So if we go and take a look at Amazing Spider-Man 300, and then looking here, I'm seeing here's the Marvel Comics um, Amazing Spider-Man. This is not the one that we want. Let's see. Let's go back here. 1988. There we go. Amazing Spider-Man 1988. Okay, so of the general census, so there are some that were qualified, some that were signed. So apparently some artist has signed almost 6,500 out of 38,000. So, but if we look at these, we can see that there's a distribution and there's a lot out there, and this is a good representation. Now, this doesn't capture how many raw books like the two that I have that I haven't, I'm going to be sending one, but not the other. So, but it gives you a kind of idea that with these modern books, there's a lot of high grade copies out there that have been graded by CGC. So now let's switch over. So if you are having a comic book graded by CGC, definitely check out my partner, Brian. I'm a raw comic book dealer. I am not an expert with CGC. I have no interest in getting involved with slabbing. But Brian he's the Slabmasters Unlimited. Here you're seeing his eBay store. I have a link below. Um, he is your expert and go-to guy. So definitely appreciate. We've got some T-shirts that we'll be able to give out, um, both with Magnitude 10 Comics and Slabmasters United. So we have you covered, whether you want to read a raw book or a graded slab. We've got you covered. So check out Brian's eBay store. I'm online at magnitude10comics.com. If you don't know, we are at 35 subscribers. And when we reach 100, I'm giving away a not graded general census CGC 9.8 slabbed comic book. You can cast your vote out of a choice of 15 for the first giveaway. And you do need to go to the bottom of the homepage, magnitude10comics.com, and submit your email address or drop a comment. Some way you need to give me your name so I can make sure that you're entered into the drawing. I know that can be a little bit confusing, but in order for me to put your name in the pot for the drawing, either comment on a video and tell me, Jeff, please enter me. I'm in. I'd like to be in. You don't have to make a purchase. You don't have to be present at the drawing. We'll keep you posted and updated on this YouTube channel. And you can direct message me. But if you go and submit on my website, that'll put your email in for the drawing as well. And we look forward to the first of many free and fun giveaways. But thank you for participating. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time at Magnitude 10 Comics YouTube.